Today on A Common Good MTG, we're playing a mono white Lifegain deck. Why is it mono white? Because all the cards are white. White. And why is it a Lifegain deck? Because half the cards gain you life, and the other half do something awesome because you gained life. All right, if that sounds interesting to you, then stay tuned to find out more. Hello and welcome to Uncommonly Good MTG. I'm your host, 7 times heavyweight Tiddlywink champion of Turtleneck, New Jersey, Dr. Yukon Socket. Yes, thank you. Film for a live studio audience. Thank you so much, Yukon Socket. Word to your mama. So I'm broadcasting to you today from my secret underground headquarters, and I'm bringing to you a deck I found on the Aether Hub, hosted by Poor Planeswalker, called Mono White Lifegain. So Mono White Lifegain's been around for a while. It's done very well. It's gotten to the point where I didn't want to play it, but Poor Planeswalker put out a deck. He's got at least one card in it from the new set, so that's it. We're playing it today, and this gives us an opportunity to play a deck we just don't get to play very often, because usually it's the same thing over and over again. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the cards that are in this deck. We'll talk about how it should work, and we're going to go out and we're going to crush some hopes and dreams. What do we got here today? We've got whenever an opponent's creature comes out, you gain a life, and they come into play tapped. So even if they're hasty, they don't get to do crap. Authority of the Consul. We already talked about that again. Okay, here we go. Case of the Uneaten Feast. Whenever a creature enters on your side, you gain 1 life. That's what you need. That's life gain, baby. Whenever another creature enters, you gain 1 life. Life gain. We got lifelink on this bat, so whenever it does damage, we gain life. This guy gets a +1/+1 counter every time you gain life. This guy's got first strike and lifelink. This guy gets a Popo counter every time you gain life. Creature control, enchantment control, and planeswalker control. This thing exiles any non-land permanent opponent controls and gives your dude +1/+0 lifelink and ward 2. Enduring Innocence has lifelink. And then whenever a creature with power of 2 or less enters the battlefield, you get to draw cards. We got some card draw there. Resplendent Angel is a 3/3. And if you gained 5 or more life the turn, you create a 4/4 angel token with flying and vigilance. If you got 6 mana, which we'll never get, then you could just give this thing +2/+2, which will make it into a 5/5 with lifelink, which will give itself a baby. So this thing becomes asexual. Let's see. Exemplar of the Light, flying. When you gain life, you put a Popo counter on this creature. Whenever you put 1 or more Popo counters on this creature, you draw a card. So we got Popo gaining and card draw. Lyra says, flying, first strike, lifelink. Other angels you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. Lots of angels in here, or at least a goodly amount. And Smile at Death allows you to, at the beginning of your upkeep, to return 2 target creature cards of power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, and you put a Popo counter on each of those. All right, and this guy puts out Fish. There you go. All right, so what are we going to do? We're going to gain a lot of life. We're going to gain a lot of life. And then we're going to put out dudes that get bigger as we gain life. And we got flying, a little bit of control, and reanimating guys from the graveyard on the regular. We just got to get up to 5 mana to be able to make that crap happen. And that's it. That's how the deck's going to work. All right. So before we go out and do our damage, let's do as we do every night. Let's say our prayers and talk about what is best in life. Hands together. Dear Black Queen Sholdred, who lives within the dark chambers of my heart, please hear my prayers and grant your blessings as we attempt to crush our enemies, see them driven before us, and to hear the lamentations of the women. I have been against BrownyOnDemand. BOD. This deck is really good, but this is like a very boring version of it. At least it's aggro, which I appreciate. It's got a nice verb to it. 1, 2, 3. What are you going to steal? Enduring Innocence? I'd probably take the Innocence Chandler if I were you. All right, you're going to block it? Probably a smart idea. Ain't it? Let's just start rubbing him down the hard way. Oof, 2 cards, huh? All I had were lands. That was it, baby. Jesus. I should draw me a card. This is Chandler Nice. All right, we're gaining plenty of life. We got a fish to sacrifice if it comes down to it. All right, question is, can I keep Lyra around enough to make this worthwhile? Oh, attack. All right, pump up Epis Chandler, as one does. There we go. He's making me grind through him that pretty hard. I'm losing my guys like crazy. Oh, that is bad. What are you doing that for? I have no more cards for you to snag. Oh, jeez, that is horrible. All right, I've got to keep him down. You want to block with bolt? That'd be cool. I don't have any life gainers at this moment, though that is a problem. All right, this guy appears to be running out of cards. That's great. Yeah, you got to pop this to draw an additional card. All right, come on, deck. You can do it. Unfortunately, that's a 4 right there. Let's just pop this. We'll draw us another card. Hopefully we can protect Lyra at this point. And all in. What are we doing here? Forcing a discard? Whatever. What evs? All right, I got 6. That's enough, right? All right, there we go. You can go ahead and choose. There you go. All right, Lyra's being awesome. Hopefully it doesn't have any creature kill. I got plenty of... If I could choose to sacrifice, the fish can totally take it for me. He seems to be running slow. He's looking for something better. There you go. Good job. All right, pump. Another one, huh? All right, sure, let's do it. Pump. All right, so he's got a block. I didn't want him to gain life too much. I don't have any mana to cast, so we're good. What do we got in here? I can pull back here. Exemplar of the Light, maybe? I mean, he's hoping. I'm going to take, what, 2 and 3 is 5 out of my 10, plus 2 more. Brings down to 3. And we win! In your face, Duffy Moon! In your face. Alright, we are playing against Moridhel. All right, Moridhel, what do we got? We got things to climb, things to do. Let's start off like a Lifegain deck, doing Lifegainy things. Two Essence Chandler. Essence Chandler's got the most value there, because it likes to push its tokens back onto other guys when it dies. That's the reason why. That's smart. Very smart. He's pretty much locked down my guys until I can get some more Lifegain guys out. And that is now a Lifegain guy. Pump! Is he going to try to field something? That's the question. Or is he going to try to go after my guys? He is going to try to go after my guys. He's down to 1. We are super close to bringing this thing together. We're at 3 mana. That's not great. He wants to kill it so bad. I think he's not giving up. That's not great. All he has to do is put a guy out to chump. He doesn't know I got to get lost. And apparently he's got to read the fine print. All right, you left with 1 mana. So how's that going to do for you there? And we win. And we win. Victory! All right, we're playing against Cripple Marine 31. All right, number 2 is going to be Essence Chandler, unless he gets out something really awesome on turn 1. which doesn't seem likely. I'm a big fan of going up against mono black. They just can focus on creature removal, just like this. Pass over that token. And in for 2. All right, doing a good job. We got some control. He doesn't seem to be putting anything out. He's just interested in killing my guys. And we're not getting anywhere. We need a little bit more creatures now. No damage was dealt. All right, I create a fish on his turn, so we're good. We create a fish right now. Oh, let's create... That poor fish didn't get a chance to live. Victory! Suck it, mother sucker. Victory! All right, we're playing against ThrowawayGrunt, Veteran Brawler. And let's get out the console. All right, so if we get out Ajani, hopefully the authority will help power it up. Discard. Lyra is the way to go just because I'm not going to get the 5 mana. She takes 6. I got 6 mana to pump her up. Pump the angel, pump it up. Get her booty on the dance floor. She don't want a place to stay. Get her booty on the floor tonight. Make her day. That's nice. Thank you very much. All right, we're gaining life that way. I'd like to put out some more creatures. That'd be cool. And we can pump my guys up. Are you looking for something in particular? You want to scry up? You could do that with Hopeless Nightmare. Another 5 I can't play, so let's get rid of it. That's fine. Log you out. Pump up again. Interesting. Alright, he's down to 4. Let's see if we can control it to get lost. We can only play 1, so 1 per turn. 1 on his turn, 1 on mine. Tries to keep the flying guy back for defense or something. Well, I can't do anything about it, so that's that. All right, let's just do it now. Boink. Gone. I don't like the fact that you think you got instants. They're going to help you out. Right, he's down to 1. You're going to pop the Resplendent Angel. All right, cool. Whatever, man. I mean, the problem is you're playing a game that hasn't been working for you. I don't know what you think you're doing here. You want to put a guy out that's going to come out blocked. You got your creature back there, your man land. Yeah, that's a mistake. Well, the man land you can put out. What's that going to do for you? Make me lose 2 life? All right, now you can't play your man land. I still win. I'm going to win it. I'm going to win it. I'm going to GG you. And we win in your face, Davy Jones. In your face. Rank up. All right, we're playing against LeanGroundBeef. All right, we got 2. That's enough usually to play this deck. No, kitty. Do what we're going to do. All right, let's go get ourselves some life. That sweet, sweet nectar of the gods. Hubert, why do you keep giving me the feed me eye? I fed you like multiple times tonight. All right, we're doing great. Hopefully he just is going slow. Spoink. He's down to 8. We're getting swole. And we win in your face. Victory! All right, so here we are with mono white life gain, and it was very mono white life gainy. You know, right at the very beginning, it's the same thing you've seen all the time. You get out like the Hinterland Sanctifier, put out like an Essence Chandler, and you get the Ajani Primate, and they just kind of blow up. We got a little bit of control with Shelter by Ghosts and Get Lost. This deck really starts to shine when you get up to the big money. We got like Exemplar of Light and Smile at Death and Lyra the Dawnbringer. Yeah, those are all great. Still, it was difficult. I mean, how much do we really have? We got, was that 22 lands? So this wasn't a land-heavy deck. Getting up to 5 wasn't something we did very often. In fact, usually if I had these guys in my hand, I just sacrificed them just because I knew I'd probably never be able to get up there. As such, though, Authority of the Consuls pulled overtime on giving this deck the time and the life it needs to keep things going. So, yeah, it was a really good mix of life gain deck, and I thought it was well worth playing. Sometimes I stay away from this deck just because it lacks in interest. It was worth playing today, mostly because Smile at Death was in here, and we got a potential to play something new and to see how well it worked. All right, so let's get down to it. Who was the MVP? Who was the most valuable player? I'm going to give it to Authority of the Consuls just because in this deck, this had so much value to it. Whenever your opponent put out a creature, you gained a life. And then also it made your opponents come in tapped. So therefore, your opponent's creatures are what were giving your guys life, and your guys would then go up like crazy. I mean, the most value you have in a guy is the Essence Chandler. He's fantastic because he could potentially have flying and vigilance if you lost life. Whenever you gain life, he gets a po counter, and whenever his creature dies, you put his counters on another creature you control. He is the best guy to get out early, unless, of course, putting out early means your guys are going to die quicker. He's the one you want to keep around because he does the best job. But yeah, altogether, I'm going to give it to Authority of the Consuls. I think you were the best guy in this particular deck. You were cheap enough to get out. It comes out great, and it gives you tons of time and life within the game. It's Authority of the Consuls. You are today's MVP. Congratulations. You are going to Disneyland. All right. Was this deck competitive? Yeah, it totally was. I was in, I just played ranked. The reason why is when I was playing on casual, people would usually just give up immediately when I put down my first card. They just hate Lifegain. Anytime I put down Hinterland Sanctifier or Case of the Uneaten Feast on turn 1, they usually just give up. So I just went straight over to the ladder and started climbing it. I had a 75% win rate, and yeah, that's great. So yeah, this was a great deck. It just was totally smoking people. You know, it was well worth playing. I like the fact that it had some control in it. This deck had the potential for just focusing on its butt too much by making its creatures come out and get all buff and everything. But between Get Lost and Shelter by Ghost, we had a pretty decent ability to hold things down. And that usually saved the game. Usually did a good job. You know what I really liked was Fountainport, just because I could cause this to cause the guy to happen, which would then cause Lifegain to happen, which would pump out other dudes. So yeah, Fountainport really worked out well in this particular deck. I liked it. All right, was this deck, let's see, fun? Yeah, it was fun. Why is that? Because look, number 1, number 2, we got a lot of early aggro action. I appreciate that great in a deck. I like the fact that haste wasn't a big deal against this deck, because Authority for the Consuls kept that from being a thing. And for some reason, Authority of the Consuls shows up a bunch, even though we only had 2 cards in a 60-card deck. So congratulations, Authority. That's why you were the MVPs, because you did such a great job for a long time of holding down something that was really bad. In fact, I have to say the one deck I think was the worst against this was probably Mono Black, just because they're able to keep blowing away my creatures over and over again. But they'd have to be focusing on being a creature kill deck. Discard, I really dislike playing that on against a personal level, but it wasn't as bad. This deck did an okay job of fielding guys and getting them out, and then you could discard the rest, and the deck still did very well. The deck plays great with just a few cards. The more cards you can play with, the better it does. So yeah, it was a fun deck to play with. If I could get out Lyra or Smile at Death, oh, that would be great. Usually with 22 land, we weren't getting up to 5 land generally. But still, everybody else was great. We could play them, and they worked well. Was this deck interesting? I'm going to say no, because it is pretty much the mono-white Lifegain deck. Sure, we had Smile at Death in there. It was just one. That was from Dragonstorm Tarkir. Sure, it's in there. It made the deck slightly interesting, but we only had 1 card, and it was almost impossible to play. So beyond that, this deck was pretty much just a standard Lifegain deck. It did very well. I'm surprised this deck doesn't show up in the top 5 for win rate. I don't know what the deal is. Where is it? Let's just see if I can find it super quick here. Tier list. Where is mono white Lifegain? It's B. It's B level, like number 6. So it's just shy of being in the top 5 mono white Lifegain. Is it this deck in particular? Let's just see. They have Leyline and Hope in the number 6. They got Knight Errant of Eos, Little Linden, the Steadfast Queen, so it's different. But, but other than that, the cards are very, very, very similar. So this is a different version of it. But yeah, Lifegain, mono white Lifegain is in the top 6 of the win rate deck. So this is no wonder why it did so well on the ladder. All right, so let's add this up. Was this deck competitive? Yes. Was this deck fun? Yes. Was it interesting? Not particularly. All right, so I'm going to give this deck an A-, just because it's been played a lot, and the cards that were added into it to make it interesting, there weren't enough of it, and we never got to play them enough. I kind of wish we could have seen more things at the early level, but I'm guessing that there just wasn't much in Dragonstorm or Aether Drift to really put into the early game to make it any more efficient or any more fun. So there you go. Mono white Lifegain with an A- deck. If you decide to play with this deck, I hope that you have as much fun playing it as I did. That is all for now. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. From all of us here in the secret underground headquarters of Uncommonly Good MTG, have a great day. In the words of my people, shine on, you crazy diamonds. Later.